He was the favorite son of the god El and the most prominent enemy of the
Yeah,
god Baal.
yeah. Now
Mm-hmm.
see, El is the Christian god and the Jewish god. The Canaanites all practiced El, and every one of them had like their different versions, kind of like what the Egyptians did. And each city within the Levant worshipped El in a different way. That's
And
why.
that's crazy
That's
because
why.
have you heard of Asiatics?
Hmm.
Yeah, they use L and Bay, L at the end of their surnames.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Baal is also supposed to be the son of El. Baal.
No, it's a. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Mahaba was
MOT.
annually killed by Baal's sister, and it aided in Anath, and she aided in Baal's resurrection. Da, 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 da. But see, he was sometimes called the creator, possessor of heaven and earth, father of all the gods except for Baal. See, look. Hold on. El was described as the titular head of the pantheon, husband of Asherah, and father of all the gods except for Baal.
Yeah. They, I mean, I was under the impression that Baal was his son. You know what I'm saying? But
God.
it it got really like muddied in that area. Like El, people today are trying to relate El to freaking Enki, and I've found no evidence that Enki and El are the same, one and the same. If anything, El would be more closely related to Enlil. You know what I mean?
And
But
here it says it's commonly used as synonym for Yahweh.
yeah,
Mm,
Yahweh is the God,
God.
is the Jewish God, which is very controversial, and like Jewish people really don't like being included into the
Mm-hmm.
Canaanites. You know what I mean? They like to be distinct and set aside on their own. Which I can understand that too, because like their beliefs are a lot more passive than what the other Canaanite beliefs are. I mean, they were pretty out there. But, okay, now after that, it goes on to talk about the birth of mortal men in a divine race. No, birth of mortal men of a divine race. The mortal men Aeon and Protogonos were born of the wind Calpea and his wife Ba'u. Aeon discovered the food provided by trees. They were the parents of Genos and Guinea, or Genos and Guinea, who lived in Phoenicia. Great droughts came, and they reached up their hands towards the sky and the sun. He says that they regarded the sun as the master god of the sky and named him Belsalmon, which in Phoenician means master of the sky. He was the Zeus of the Greeks. Then Philo attacks the error of the Greeks. It is not without reason that we make this distinction known. It is in order to establish the true meaning, which has been misinterpreted, of these names applied to objects. Misled by the uncertainty of translation, the Greeks took them in another meaning. From Genos, son of Aeon, or Aeon,
Aeon.
Aeon and Protogonos were born new mortal children named Phos, Pyre, and Phlox, light, fire, and flame. They invented fire by rubbing pieces of wood against each other and taught its use. They had children of great size and marked superiority, who gave their names to the mountains of which they were the sovereigns. It was from them that Mount Cassius and the Lebanon Mountains and the anti-Lebanon Mountains took their name.
Cassius?
Cassius, yeah. It was from them that Mount Cassius, the Lebanon Mountains, and the anti-Lebanon Mountains took their names. They gave birth to the Sumerimus and the Hepsirianos, celestial height. Sanchuniathon observed that men were named after their mothers, and that women shamelessly gave themselves to any man they saw. Then he says, Hepsirianos lived in Tyre and invented huts made of reeds, rushes, and papyrus. He had a dispute.
Bilius is from, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, he had a dispute with his brother Usus, who was the first to think of taking the skins of animals he had killed and making them into a covering for his body. Torrential rains and violent winds devastated Tyre and broke the trees. The forest was swept by fire. Usus took a tree, stripped it of its branches, and was the first to venture into the sea. He consecrated 2 steles to fire and the wind, and worshipped them by spilling on them the blood of animals he had taken in his hut. Many centuries had gone by since the age of Hepsirianos, when Agrius and Alius, inventors of fishing and hunting, were born. It was they who provided those arts with their implements. From them came 2 brothers who invented iron and production of all things that makes use of it. One of them, Chrysor, devoted himself to sorcery, predictions, and the composition of discourses. He was the same as Hephaestus, who invented the fish hook and bait, the fishing line, and the raft. He was the first of all men to sail on the sea, and that is why he was worshipped as a divinity after his death. He was called Zeus Mitius. So it goes on even further right there.
Okay, so who's Poseidon? Like, in regards to this, would it be possible that that guy would have been correlated to, or to be kind of like, or no relation possible, or is it just definitely always the possibility but not likely?
Now, at the beginning, if you remember what they were saying, these are mortal men of a divine race, and it also mentions that they were also giants.
Okay. Where have you been?
So it's kind of interesting on that aspect. Like and a lot of this correlates with the Old Testament too, with what the Old Testament was saying. It's kind of interesting. I could see where the Canaanite beliefs kind of filtered their way into Judaism too, and it's all Semitic. Like, people think that Jews are the only ones that were Semitic, but they aren't. They're just a distinction of Semitic people, you know.
And I wonder why that is. Like, why is it to where that's the only culture associated with being quote unquote Semitic, but there are so many cultures that actually were Semitic? You know what I mean? Like, hey, that's not making sense to me there.
Well, a lot of the northern areas that were above what would be now Saudi Arabia, that was all they were either Semitic or they were Aryan, and like a up around Iran, those were the majority of those were the Aryans and stuff, and a lot of the Semitics were from Iraq all the way to Lebanon. You know what I mean? And then what happened was the freaking the Arab invasion, where the Arabs came up out of like Saudi Arabia and those areas, and they invaded the rest of them. They took over Turkey.
When did this happen?
This happened back during the time of Muhammad, just as Christianity was starting off.
To develop. Okay, so and you said this called what was it called? The invasion.
Arab invasion.
Arab invasion. Okay.
See,
I just want to look it up. That's why I'm asking.
That whole region, I mean, like, people have a hard time understanding the history of it because of how much chaos is going on in the Middle East and stuff, you know what I mean? But if you have patience and you actually focus on it and spend time on it, you can kind of figure it out. And I still don't know a lot about it. I mean, that's what's so fascinating about that region is it's immersed.
A lot to learn.
I mean, there's so much history in that area. So much different cultures.
Put this on my tabs because I have a bunch of stuff I have to do, and like this is from my history, just from my knowledge, the stuff that I've been doing with you, a lot of it, and as it relates. But eventually, how you do this type of stuff that I'm fluent in, I'd like to be able to be like present, like, so I'll probably be like reading some of the books that I'm reading and stuff like that, just a little bit, not much, but the stuff that you're doing is the stuff that for whatever reason it's related to what I'm studying, and it'll explain why and how these laws that we have now currently have been developed, just not even the laws, the culture itself. And so that's why it's significant. That's why I feel like it's significant what you do, because maybe not a lot of people understand it, or maybe they're not present for it, but the answers that we're looking for is in what you're doing right now.
Well, like a lot of, like, they make statements that just, if they really would pay attention, they'd understand that it's not true. Like, even in this one, they mention the fact that that Philo is he's introducing atheism, okay? And if you read what Philos is really saying, he's actually talking about paganism, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know why it said that, because I didn't hear anything about until you said it just now. I didn't understand a correlation to atheism. Yeah. So that's why I was just going to do more digging, because I heard you say that today, but I didn't get that. See, there it is. I knew I had already.
I didn't get that either. Like, a lot of the stuff that he mentioned here had more to do with paganism than it did anything to do with atheism.
But that would be why they say it's atheism, so that way people will denounce it, and they'll say that it's, but because paganism, people like to incorporate it even if they're quote unquote Christians, or regardless of the fact, they like to overlap it and say, oh, this is acceptable. And like, so if we say you get your pagan holidays, you have your, you know what I mean, we're going to incorporate what benefits us. So if he's attempting to tell you, hey, this is what you're doing in regards to this, and this is what should be done, then they'll just correlate. They'll say, oh, okay, actually, we'll just charge this as atheism, so no one pays that much attention.